Hi, friends. Let's talk about transforming your life through shamanism and how we do that. What does that mean? What's it look like? What can happen? All that stuff. My name is John Moore, and I teach shamanism. I'm a shamanic teacher and practitioner from the state of Maine in the US. I've been practicing for years and teaching for years, and I have used shamanism to transform my life. So, one of the things that happens when we think about shamanism is that we think about shamans. We think about these individual spiritual functionaries, right? They could be spiritual leaders akin to a priest or a medicine person, or somebody you go to for healing or information or wisdom, an elder, that sort of thing. And that is integral to shamanism. Shamanism came up out of the prehistoric ages of humanity, in which there were everyday survival reasons for having somebody who was a healer and a diviner and could give sage advice and that sort of thing, and really help cohere and heal the tribe that they were a part of. And that person in different shamanic cultures might have been taken care of by taken care of by the tribe. In some cultures they were forbidden to hunt or fish, and so they had to be fed by the tribe and take care of, but their role was seen as so important. So today, anybody can learn the basics of shamanism. You can take a class, you can uh, read books, you can watch videos, and you can study one-on-one with a mentor. I have students who study with me one-on-one, and I teach classes. Um, I will caution you against trying to learn how to do journeying through books and videos alone. Um, Stuff can go wrong. You can get frustrated. Shamanism is not a risk-free endeavor. But like anything, you weigh the risks and the rewards, and the rewards for many people outweigh those. So you can learn the skills of shamanism. You can learn how to journey. You can meet your helping spirits, learn who your power animal is, learn how to do certain ceremonies, that sort of thing, without hanging out a shingle as a shamanic practitioner, without becoming a healer, without becoming, somebody who sees people for shamanic services. In fact, that was my intention when I started out in shamanism. I started learning shamanism to work on myself, to heal from a crisis that I was going through at that time. And, it worked out really well for me. But also, the universe kind of had other plans and put me on the path of becoming a practitioner and then teacher. And I really do think people who are teaching should also probably be in practice, or at least have been in practice for quite a while. It's hard to teach something that you're not encountering on a daily basis, like things that people run into. And shamans are primarily problem solvers, whether they're solving the problem of when to plant crops, or where to hunt, or how to heal somebody, or how to take care of somebody with trauma in their history. um you know Shamans are problem solvers. So the nice thing these days is that um you know shamanism can be learned outside of an indigenous culture. So you don't have to be part of an indigenous culture necessarily to learn shamanism. um you know you should not steal practices from indigenous cultures that don't have a right to, or an understanding of, and have not been passed to you in a sacred way. That's misappropriation. But you can learn the practices of shamanism. You can learn the beliefs of shamanism, that are global, that are part of core shamanism. You can learn all of that stuff. Uh, when you do, whether your intention is to just learn shamanism for your own use or to learn how to help other people with healing, shamanism transforms you. Shamanism will transform your life. Ultimately, that will be for the better. Sometimes it doesn't seem that way. Sometimes things get shaken up. We go through initiations where something happens or a bunch of things happen in our life and things fall apart a little bit. And then we can, using life skills, but also the tools we learn from shamanism, we put things back together and we're stronger for that. We heal from that. It's like, you get a cold, you heal from the cold, you have immunity from that particular virus again, at least for some period of time. You break a bone, sometimes it grows back stronger where the break was. Okay, so that is sort of how shamanism works through initiation. So you can learn shamanism as a personal spiritual path. If you do shamanism as a practice with any regularity, even if you are using it as a healing tool to heal other people, it becomes your spiritual path. You settle into it because you start to see things through a shamanic lens. You start to witness the underpinnings of reality, and you start to see the spiritual worlds beyond the physical world through a shamanic lens, through experiencing them, not through reading about them, not through watching videos like this one, not through having a teacher explain them to you. Shamanic teachers I rarely use the word should, but when I do, it's pretty, so that way when I do, it's pretty important. Like, you can understand, like, when I say the word should, there's a critical thing that I'm weighing here. Shamanic teachers should be guides, not gurus. And when I say that, it means my students, I do not create a dependent relationship with them. It is for me to lift them up by showing them how powerful they are, by helping them step into their own power, by leading them to experiences of that demonstrate to them, where they learn on a very real level what their own spiritual power is. And someday they won't need me, and that's great. That's like, when I raise my children up, they become less and less dependent on me. And while I might have pangs of, gosh, I miss when my children were little and really relied on me and that sort of thing, I'm doing my job by creating independent, self-reliant, eventually adults, human beings, right? I'm raising them up. It's my job as a parent to do that. It's not my, in the beginning, there's a lot of hand-holding, literally, with kids. In the beginning, there is a lot going on that I have to do for them. I have to tie their shoes, I have to change their clothes, I have to feed them. But very, very quickly, they gain independence. And if I kept doing those things for them, I'm not doing them a service. I'm doing them a disservice by making them dependent. And when they get out on their own, they're unable to function. So the same is true with shamanic teachers. I should be aiming to create independent, spiritually powerful beings who are, I like to say that I'm helping to light beacons of light, beacons of spiritual light. I might create the spark, but they continue to burn. And I do that by leading them through experiences that are transformative, right? The transformation from when somebody comes in and says, I'm drawn to study shamanism with you, and we start out and I walk them step by step through how to do shamanic journeying, and then we branch out into divination and healing and death and dying work, and then doing really deep soul level work with them. But ultimately they're doing the work and they're picking up skills along the way so that they are becoming more and more independent. They're feeling comfortable exploring, pushing their boundaries out a little bit. It's not it's not my job to create clones of myself either, right? So, um, and I came up in martial arts, and in martial arts, a lot of martial arts is very rote learning. A lot of martial arts schools are very, you do this way. This toe is, pointed out 43 degrees, but not 46 degrees. And this, stand this way and practice these things. And I happened to have a teacher who was like, I format the teaching to every individual student because I'm not creating clones of myself. This is where I borrow this philosophy from. Um, you are an artist, you are a martial artist. In this case, what I hope to create with students, not that I'm not creating this, but I'm hoping to create the conditions in which they become spiritual artists, where they're able to create, they're able to transform themselves, they're able to do their own work. This is a really, really important thing for me, where, and I get there are, there are probably some really good guru disciple relationships out there, that, and that's for people who are of a certain makeup, on a certain part of their journey, where that is helpful, where attaching themselves to somebody, and that somebody becomes a living representative of deity on earth for them, maybe that's helpful. But I also know that the guru disciple relationship is ripe for abuse. We see that happening over and over again with different cult leaders and different gurus who wind up sexually or physically, financially, mentally, emotionally um, abusing disciples. And I will never create a relationship like that with anybody. I actively discourage my students from having a dependent relationship. They can rely on me. They can rely on me to help them answer questions. They can rely on me to create a good, safe boundary for them to learn in, and they can rely on me um, to give them the best possible learning experience, tailored to their individual needs, tailored to their individual makeup. This is easier with one-on-one learning, but I've got ways of doing that in group environments as well, with giving people what they need in a group environment. And teaching, doing something and teaching something are two very different things. So I know really fantastic practitioners that may not be great teachers, and that's true in all walks of life. I know new people in martial arts who were spectacular athletes and could perform these amazing physical feats, and I'd watch them and like, okay, now you do it, and I'm like, I can't do that, and I couldn't learn to do what they did, because they could do it, but they couldn't really teach it, and they also didn't understand that people they were teaching weren't at the same level of physical ability that they were. So I really try to take that learning, and I take learning from everywhere, and borrow it in. I take learning from computer science, from information security, from teaching self-defense classes to adults, to teaching martial arts classes, to everything from my life, things that I've read, things I've studied, and combine that with, the 7 odd years of shamanic study that I've undertaken in my life, and as well as all the practice that I've done, and try to combine that in a way that is transformative for students. So you can use shamanism, the study of shamanism, the practice of shamanism. Shamanism is more about practice than study. You can use that to transform your life. You can use that as a way to reach really high levels of spiritual and personal development. You can use it to better your mental health, your physical health. So it is kind of this nice tool or set of tools. I think shamanism is a little bit like a Swiss Army knife, where you have all of these different tools that you can unfold, and it's a matter of learning how to use them in certain contexts, but you have the toolbox there. You have the tools that you need to do all kinds of wonderful things with your life and create a sense of self-transformation. So this is about how you might think about transforming your life through the practice of shamanism. And I'm an example of how that works. I was not a healthy person. I became a much healthier person. I think I have become I'm not saying I'm smarter than anybody else or wiser than anyone else, but I am smarter and wiser than I was when I started out. This is not a comparison to any other human being. This is a comparison to myself, where I was when I started this journey. It has been profoundly transformative for me. It has helped me create healthier interpersonal boundaries in my relationships. It has helped me become a more loving father, an intimate partner. It has helped me become a better citizen in my community, and it has helped me think about things in a way that I understand how we're interconnected with everything. And so there isn't an area of my life that I can think of that has not been positively impacted by my practicing shamanism. And it is my home. It is my spiritual home. And you can probably tell from how many videos I do and my podcast and my app and my blog and everything else that I do and all the guest appearances I do on radio and talk, and podcasts and stuff, that I love sharing this. Now, I am not proselytizing. That's a difference. I am not coming to you saying, hey, you need to study shamanism. It's not true, and I don't think that it's a path for everyone. I don't think there is such a thing as a one true way. It's a one true path. But I think certain people get pulled or called to the shamanic path. And if you're one of those, if you're exploring YouTube videos because you feel a call towards shamanism, and you might be exploring YouTube videos about shamanism just because you're curious, and that's totally fine too. There is no judgment here whatsoever. Whether the shamanic path is for you or it is not for you is for you to discover. I can give you some pointers along the way about whether or not it is for you. And I would encourage you to reach out to like if you feel like exploring the path of shamanism is for you, I would encourage you to reach out to a qualified teacher. And by qualified, I mean somebody who has practiced for years, done years of training, has been teaching for a while, probably has actually studied teaching from a teacher trainer, from like a master trainer of teachers, because not everybody has the same ability to teach this stuff. But reach out and ask some questions. Feel free to reach out to me. For example, you can link to my website below and reach out and ask me questions. So far, I have not been inundated by people asking me questions about the study of shamanism. If that ever happens, I'll have to train up some apprentices to help me answer email. But I'm not there yet, and I'm happy to answer questions. But yeah, if you feel pulled to this path, it may or may not be for you, but there are ways that you can explore it without completely jumping into it, and realizing, halfway through a major commitment, a major multi-year commitment to an apprenticeship or a mentorship, that, oh, this really isn't the path for me. And a good teacher will help you out with that. A good teacher will, ask you questions. We'll ask you questions back, answer all of your questions, and then together help you figure out if this is the right path for you for your personal transformation. I hope this is helpful. Please subscribe to my channel. Check me out. Check out my website. There's links to tons and tons of information there. I've got a blog and a podcast and a free app, and links to places I show up on other people's podcasts and stuff like that. And I just love sharing this information. So once again, I hope it's helpful. I hope you stay happy and healthy, and I will talk to you real soon.